Almost every village has that one story. The one people absolutely refuse to talk about after the sun goes down. Some folks just dismiss them as local myths, while others treat them as deadly, unbreakable warnings. Well, today we're diving into this explainer to unravel the chilling 60-year-old lore of Ravens Hill. We're going to see exactly what happens when modern skepticism collides head-on with a terrifying, ancient tradition. Let's get started.
They actually call it Kala Musafir, the Black Passenger. Now, the legend speaks of a bus that only stops for people whose fate has already been decided. The locals don't avoid the road through Ravens Hill because of typical stuff like robbers or wild animals. No, they avoid it because of a bus that simply isn't supposed to exist at all. It's not just a vehicle, it's literally seen as this terrifying agent of fate. All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the lore and the stakes.
So picture this. We're talking about an isolated mountain village, hiding a road that literally no one dares to use after midnight. And for 60 years, let that sink in. For over 6 decades, this community has lived by one unbreakable rule. This isn't just some passing internet rumor or a spooky story told around a campfire. It is a generational shadow. Entire lifetimes have been spent adhering to this lore, to the point where they've fundamentally altered the geography of the town just to completely avoid this one single abandoned highway.
And that deep-rooted anxiety, it translates into some very strict rules for survival, passed down by literally every single elder in Ravens Hill. Step 1, don't look at it. Step 2, don't wave at it. Step 3, don't get inside. It's like they've gamified terror into this methodical manual for survival. Nobody even knows who started the legend, but I can tell you for sure, they all know the deadly consequences of breaking those 3 rules.
Now here's where it gets really wild. Over the years, people have just vanished without leaving a single footprint. Others are found days later, dead, with expressions of absolute terror completely frozen on their faces. To put that into perspective, the authorities offer entirely mundane explanations. The police blame wild animals. The doctors say, oh, it's just sudden heart attacks. But the villagers? Yeah, they know better. They have their own explanation, and they blame exactly one thing: the midnight bus.
Which brings us to Section 2, the anatomy of a skeptic. Because to truly test a legend, you need someone to challenge it, right? Enter 28-year-old Daniel Carter. Daniel is this highly successful YouTuber who basically built a massive career by investigating haunted places and exposing fake ghost hunters. And man, he comes prepared. Daniel packs cameras, microphones, drones, camping gear, the whole shebang. He's relying on the absolute pinnacle of modern technology to combat a 60-year-old analog fear. He completely ignores the local warnings because he fundamentally believes that fear only exists inside the human mind. To him, his tech is the ultimate shield.
In fact, when Daniel first hears about the generational trauma of Ravens Hill, he doesn't feel a drop of dread. He actually just smiles and says, "This is exactly the kind of story people love." Talk about missing the point, right? To Daniel, the disappearances and those frozen expressions of terror are just content. He monetizes fear. He has zero respect for the danger because, to him, it's literally just a narrative waiting to be debunked for views.
So his battle plan is incredibly arrogant and incredibly simple. Step 1, spend one night on the haunted road. Step 2, record everything. Step 3, expose the legend. Step 4, upload the truth. Boom, done. He's treating an ancient curse like a basic content strategy. But what Daniel completely fails to realize is that he isn't going to Ravens Hill to investigate a story. He's going there to become part of it.
Let's move on to Section 3, the point of no return. So, Daniel arrives at the village just before sunset, and it's perfectly serene. Children are playing, old men are sitting outside their small wooden houses. To an outsider, there's absolutely nothing unusual happening. But the exact second Daniel mentions the midnight bus, every conversation stopped. Every single smile completely disappeared. The peaceful facade instantly shatters. And this reaction isn't just people being rude or unhelpful, it really showcases the deep collective trauma of the village. The name alone is enough to freeze an entire community in its tracks.
Out of that dead silence, this old woman slowly walks toward him. Her hands are visibly trembling as she grabs his arm, begging him to leave before nightfall. Daniel, keeping up his polite little skeptical shield, just smiles and tells her he's making a documentary. The old woman looks directly into his eyes and says, "No, you're making your last mistake." It is such an absolute, chilling rejection of Daniel's modern arrogance by the raw, lived reality of the village's terror. But she doesn't just offer words. She actually pulls a small silver cross from around her neck and presses it directly into Daniel's hand. It's a profound exchange when you think about it. An ancient, physical token of protection being handed directly to a man fueled entirely by modern skepticism. She is literally trying to arm him for a battle he doesn't even believe he's fighting.
As she hands him the cross, she leaves him with this incredibly heavy warning. You'll understand why, if you survive until sunrise. And Daniel? He just laughs. He politely thanks her anyway, completely dismissive of the gravity of what she just did, and walks toward the abandoned highway without ever looking back. And because he doesn't look back, he completely misses the final, chilling detail. The entire village is just standing there, silently watching him disappear into the darkness.
So here is the big question. When modern skepticism meets a 60-year-old curse, will Daniel survive until sunrise? He walked into the dark thinking he was the one in control, completely underestimating a legend that has terrified an entire village for 6 decades. What do you think actually happens when the clock strikes midnight on that abandoned highway? It's a haunting reminder that some stories are meant to be heeded as warnings, not just debunked as myths. Thanks so much for exploring this explainer with me today.